Hey there everybody, Nico here, and this video is all about how to do a spiritual service check for help with assessing and discerning spiritual workers, readers, healers, teachers, and mentors for both compatibility and competence before taking them on. I think this is actually really important. I have noticed a new abundance of disappointments and disenfranchised people posting all over the place, Instagram, Reddit. I've even had clients come to me. I've actually noticed I've gotten a lot of subscribers within the last couple of months leaving other readers that have been on, say, YouTube or on Instagram and whatnot. I've also noticed that a lot of copycatting and fake accounts, we had that problem on Instagram within the last couple of months, really crop up hardcore. I even had it happen to me, start to really mess with people, as well as a lot of concern and a lot of backlash to a lot of really toxic trends that have been quite pervasive in the online spiritual community this last few years. I have commented on this several times throughout the course of the last few years, but I think that now more people have moved from let them have their journey to, okay, this really needs to stop. So let's talk about it. And we're going to have slides, if you haven't noticed. I've actually gotten into making little slides for Instagram and Facebook and the YouTube community page. And let me know what you think if you like them, because I'm having a lot of fun. Though I did see some grammatical errors in this, and I'm just going to point that out right now. But let's talk about how to check spiritual service. So one of the first things that you really want to look for is work on display. Does this person actually present their skills? Does this person actually have a breadth of original content that you can digest? Because believe it or not every reader is compatible with every person on the planet, and not every horoscope or tarot forecast, for instance, is going to be applicable to every experience. What to look for? Authentic practitioners will have a body of work showing their skills, studies, and experience in a way that is educational and demonstrative. These could be articles, blogs, videos, audio recordings, or other forms of presentation in action. Some red flags you want to keep an eye on: cold calls, spam, memes, and marketing tactics that go way too far. And as I mentioned a minute ago, we did have some issues on Instagram recently with copycat accounts and fake accounts, cold calling people, cold messaging people, weird stuff. I even had it happen to me that it was kind of a strange experience because some of the things that the copycat was writing were obviously very, very predatory and very, very intrusive. And some people ended up getting kind of messed up by that because they were in a vulnerable place. But other people were just getting mad at me because they thought it was me. So that pissed me off. Might have been what motivated this part of it for a little bit. Now, of course, this isn't always available, especially in the cases where you are working with, say, healers or practitioners that require you to engage with them and maybe have sessions that are much more involved and much more private. But that is where you can, of course, look for demonstrations. And you might also want to pay attention to see, well, what is going on when it comes to maybe how they have developed their skills, how deep and how serious are they about their practice. And so if you can't see any of that at all, to me, that is a major red flag. Let's talk about a breadth of experience and what to look for. Does this person demonstrate more knowledge and experience in matters beyond one subject of their practice? A rich, diverse library of subject matter will show a practitioner that is consistently expanding and evolving their work. This is not only a strong indicator of authenticity, but also a measure of their experience and consistency in their own discipline. Even if a practitioner or a service provider has a specialization, right, a certain particular favorite that they like to speak on or work with, or something that has become one of their namesakes, they will have a strong breadth of experience to present and speak on. So don't just look at the things that drew you in. Look at the things that maybe tell you more about not only the person, but what else is getting brought to the table in addition to what drew you in. For instance, when you look at my channel, yes, you do see astrology, you do see tarot, but there are lecture playlists and tons of lecture and instructional videos talking all about my own spiritual path and practice, even some really far out stuff. I've also got my podcast, all kinds of things where you can actually examine and see not only how far this goes for me, but where I've been with how far I've gone. And there are all kinds of really cool YouTube creators I can think of to shout out right now that also do it very much the same way. My buddy Raphael, right? Radiant Reality. Yes, he is also known for tarot and for astrology, as well as numerology. And so he speaks for a number of different subjects. And he's also got a healer background. But the people who honestly do have a breadth of experience that goes far beyond maybe what hooked you are going to be the ones that are actually going to bring a lot more to the table when they're working for you. A good healer is going to know something about multiple healing arts and practices. They're not just going to settle at getting their whatever healing certificate, never study again, and then just call it a day. A healer who really cares about their craft and somebody who really is dedicated to their spiritual work and their spiritual practice will keep going. The same thing applies to astrologers. The same thing applies to tarot readers. The same thing applies to teachers and mentors and channelers and everything across the board. What else are they working with? What else are they bringing to the table that shows you that this is a legit practitioner, a legit, adept, skilled provider to you, the consumer? Authenticity. What to look for. Works that allow you to better understand the true nature and expression of the practitioner. Does I know it says does their work show you who they really are in their authenticity? Does this practitioner authentically present themselves and their works in ways where you are able to understand their nature and journey? This will help you to know if this is the fit for you. This is extremely important because when we talk about authenticity, especially when it comes to the age of social media, there has been such a profoundly difficult reward system for authenticity versus inauthenticity or manufactured authenticity. And a lot of people who are really, really good at social media know that what you want to do is keep people watching or keep people engaging or keep people clicking or liking or commenting, however it goes, whatever platform they're on, and maintain the interest by spending as much time on that piece as possible. That does not necessarily mean that there is anything of substance there. Red flags include clickbait, transference bait, and projection bait. So clickbait, we're all familiar with clickbait, and we're all above clickbait. But yes, unfortunately, there are certain situations like the algorithm, especially on YouTube, for instance, where certain practitioners and certain readers and certain teachers and whatnot, may have invoked a bit of clickbait just for the sake of growing their business or growing their channel. And I myself even tried to play with that a little bit a couple of years ago, and then I was like, this isn't me, I'm not going to do it. You get what you get. But clickbait itself can also turn into something that is just meant to be a trap, especially when we move on to transference bait. So this is where the intention to exploit vulnerable people is on display. Transference bait being emotional transference bait. It doesn't matter what I'm reading or what I'm talking about. If you are so hurt or so wounded or so confused, or I can work you up that you will project your whole story into what I'm putting out there, and you'll keep watching. And the algorithm will reward me because you know what? I am racking up minutes on that YouTube video. I'm racking up hours on the YouTube account, or I'm racking up likes on Facebook, or I'm racking up shares on Facebook, or I'm racking up story shares on Instagram. It doesn't matter. Projection bait. Very, very similar. Projection bait. They want you to project. They'll find a way to get you to project. Simple. If you are not in a space where you are sure what to do with your question or your intention, or you're feeling lost, or you don't know anything about the spiritual community, or you don't know what you need spiritually, or you don't know what you're looking for, you might be going out and finding the wrong person, or you might think that worse. That's how it is across the board, let me tell you. If you look through my channel, you will see that no, that is not how it is across the board. And there are a lot of really, really good readers and really, really good practitioners out there that are not doing transference bait and projection bait. But they are a little harder to find because the algorithm does reward people who actually are using transference bait and projection bait. And yeah, there are ways to filter what YouTube will show you, right? If you see a certain type of content that you don't like, if you don't necessarily want the algorithm to show you, say, for instance, a certain type of horoscope reader or a certain type of astrologer, then you can always, of course, like click the three dots right in the bottom right hand of that video and just say do not recommend. Again, for the longest time, this can be without actually taking the time to filter things out, it can make it really hard for us to find somebody that actually does work with us and fit us the right way. Appropriacy. What to look for. An understanding of what this practitioner is doing and how they go about their work. Are they a guide? Are they a mentor, a healer, a researcher? Not all practitioners and spiritual workers are living and serving the same roles. We certainly don't all have the same backgrounds. One of the worst things that ever happened this last few years is this strange projection that all practitioners are here as healers, counselors, life coaches. We are not. And that might not even be something that you want. While a breadth of skill is important as a strong foundation of skill, getting a chance to be good at a little bit of everything, get those prerequisites in, each will have specialties and proficiencies which are unique and appropriate to serve different needs. Know what your intent or core motivation for, should be a space there, your practice is before purchasing services or work from any practitioner. A practitioner that knows their voice, knows their work, and owns their specialty will be far more effective than one who does not. And some things to watch out for. One-size-fits-all approaches, role assumption, and role projection. People are not trained to do a lot of the things that they say they are here to do. And when you have situations where people are just projecting an image or an affectation for adulation, right, selling out instead of working on their craft, you can run into all kinds of problems. The one-size-fits-all approach is one of the worst because you may actually get somebody who's not even serious about their practice. What if they're just in a phase, right? They're just in a phase. They got, really into crystals today, or they got really into tarot another day, and you don't even know if this person actually is taking it all that seriously. Role assumption. What if there's this idea that the only way to do a certain type of reading is to do it this way, and then all of a sudden you've got another challenge where you're trying to get the wrong kind of reading from the wrong kind of person, and yet at the same time they're telling you that there is no other way to do a reading. Capacity. What to look for. As with the demonstration of competency and discipline being crucial, it's important to look for capacity not only in ability, but also character. A practitioner that is truly committed to honoring their path will be steadfast in upholding such with discipline and grace. This will also demonstrate to you, the consumer, whether or not they are fit to assist you with creating a sustainable shift for your own circumstances. The more capable they are of mastering themselves, the more capable they are with what they have to offer the world. Now, this can be something that's a bit tricky to look at, because when we think about capacity, some things that we used to think were indicative of capacity are not. A good example of this would be aesthetic. You don't know how or why somebody came about the resources that they have or don't have. I've seen plenty of really, really bad readers out there in penthouses dressed to the nines. And I've also seen some really, really skillful teachers and healers out there living in studio apartments because they have just made a huge move, or they have just changed careers. They are working on rebuilding a whole new life around themselves, but they have got their art, they have got their craft down pat. And so aesthetic isn't always going to tell you what's going on. Followers, subscribers, view counts, you can buy those, by the way. I don't think that that's an indication of somebody being any good. I also think that, once again, because the algorithm does reward people for taking a step away from authenticity, holding on to the views, engaging in such a way where it's getting promoted and lifted, if a person is focusing more on that than they are on doing a good job or being of good service in the highest interest of all concerned, that's going to also, of course, elevate them if they are really, really good at it and people keep falling for it. Some red flags to keep in mind as well. Excessive reactivity, reactionary work, and volatility. This is where the topic of discipline really comes in. So we talk about reactivity and reactionary work and volatility. Can this person keep it together? How this person handles themselves? How does this person handle emotional stimuli? How does this person handle their views? How does this person express themselves? If they're out of control, or they are prone to crazy, flipping out, or maybe they are too easily influenced by things that are going on around them. They take on way too much energy. They embody too much of the wrong thing. Maybe they let themselves slip. Maybe they are demonstrating some circling the drain kind of situations. Or maybe you notice that some difficult, problematic, or maybe even, just red flag behavior coming from them in such a way consistently that it also shows you that this person may not necessarily be able to keep it together when they are working on a difficult situation with you or working on a matter that's important to you. If it's going on constantly, if you're noticing these things are happening in a way where, if this were your friend or this were your family member, you would probably check in on them, maybe this isn't a good time for that person to work. Maybe see how they do in a month. Encouragement or endorsement of toxic behaviors in self or others. This should be an obvious one. This is clearly somebody who is either trying to empower themselves by trying to pass off toxicity as health, or this is somebody who is trying to people please you, or maybe even somebody who is afraid to help where help is really needed, so they try to make a situation seem better or a person feel better about a situation that is no good. Really want to be careful about where that affirmation or validation sense is coming from, because again, it's another form of love bombing, and to be perfectly honest, sometimes the things that don't make us feel validated or don't make us feel affirmed are things we really need to hear. And finally, we have conviction, which is kind of a combination of everything we've talked about so far. Overall, the most important indicator as to whether or not a practitioner is going to be the right one for you is going to be their commitment to their own growth, expansion, and mastery on their journey. Pay attention to where a practitioner is consistently evolving while remaining true to their core virtues in their work. In essence, how seriously do they take their work? Do not be swayed by marketing and tech alone. Talked about that. Money and access to such resources are no indicator of commitment to spiritual mastery, especially in times where spirituality is trendy. Does this person know themselves? Does this person own themselves? Does this person own their skills? Does this person let you know them? Is this person in a place where they are showing that their dedication is apparent and indisputable? If the answer is, of course, yes, and you know it's a compatible fit, proceed. But if you don't know, or the answer ends up being no, maybe you want to rethink your commitment to that service, or maybe keep shopping. So that is what I've got for you all. I hope that this helps you out. I hope this helps you build a nice foundation For those of you that are maybe new to the spiritual community or new to looking into any of these works or any of these arts, please let me know your experiences and your feelings in the comments below, and share this, with people or even with groups that you think would really do well to look at it from this perspective, just so we can, of course, make sure that everybody is not only having the best experience possible, but we are also helping people to be protected from being preyed upon, as well as get hooked up with the people that are the right fits for them. So y'all take care. Thank you so much for dropping by. If you did enjoy this video, I would appreciate a like or a subscribe. Both, actually, because I still got to deal with the algorithm too. And I will see you all again soon.